We're here today to talk about what else? Rebel Moon. Big shocker. With its continued popularity with spin-off comics, spin-off TV shows, 2 director's cuts, Chalice of Blood and Curse of Forgiveness. You know, I always thought those titles were a little weird. It's a little interesting when you think about it. Both Rebel Moon movies had a novelization come out about it. Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. But these novelizations are allegedly based on the R-rated director's cut scripts, meaning that this book should be called Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, and the book that has my name on it, which is currently in Kansas and Amazon can't find my address, should be called Rebel Moon Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness. So what we're going to do today is talk about the 4 movies that are in this overall cinematic universe that Zack Snyder has created between Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead. We're going to go in chronological order, working our way from the oldest movie in the timeline all the way up to the newest. Are you ready? Well, you don't have any choice. Can't click off the video now. You're stuck forever. Let's go! This is Sebastian
Schlenchtwönert.
But we'll just call him Seb. He hates his life, but loves lockpicking. He dreams of a better life than his 9 to 5. His day basically consists of going to work, coming home, watching YouTube videos about lockpicking, and also watching the news about the zombie apocalypse that happened in Las Vegas. Suddenly, a mysterious character tells Seb to go to this underground lockpicking tournament that only the best of the best can participate. How will our hero win? He just does it, no problem. Our mysterious character is revealed to be Gwendolyn Starr, a jewel thief who has asked for Seb's help with cracking 3 safes. The Reinhold, the Valkyrie, and the Siegfried, which are 3 safes owned by Bly Tanaka. I promise you, this will come back later. They're based on Richard Wagner's
Der Ring des Nibelungen.
which is a collection of 4 operas based on the epic poem The
Nibelungenlied.
And yes, there is a 4th safe. It's called
Götterdämmerung.
We'll get back to that later. So Seb agrees to help crack the safes because he's a Hans Wagner fan, and Hans Wagner is the one who built the safes. And theoretically, he knows how to unlock them all. So Gwen introduces him to the team. Hacker, Karina, Driver, Rolf, and gunman, Brad Cage. They break into the first safe in Paris, the Reinhold. In almost a parody of heist movies, nothing goes wrong, everything's fine. Our heroes make it out unscathed. Meanwhile, the Interpol agent Delacroix hears of the heist. You see, Delacroix has had a run-in with our heroes before in the past. He knows exactly what they're up to and knows that the next safe that they're going to is the Valkyrie. So his plan is to get there before them and stop them. Our heroes are able to get to the second safe, no problem. They start to uncrack it when Seb reveals to the gang that if he messes it up too many times, it's gonna lock forever. Now with that pressing information, he unlocks it just fine. There's no problems and the crew makes it out. Except Brad Cage leaves our boy Seb behind. Saddened by this, Seb returns back to his house thinking his life over, thinking if his 9 to 5 really wasn't the worst thing in the world. Meanwhile, Karina and Gwen reveal to Seb that they actually hate Rolf and Brad Cage, and that they just want to break into the 3rd safe together as a team. This one. Throughout the film, it's revealed that Seb and Gwen have a bit of a romance. Seb reveals to Gwen that when he was a kid, he had a fascination with Hans Wagner safes and spent all his time picking them. Meanwhile, Gwen reveals to him that her parents are rich and she wants to go down in history as the person who was a part of the theft of all 4 Hans Wagner safes. It says, although the final safe,
Götterdämmerung.
the location isn't known, she's heard it's in Las Vegas and together, maybe they'll find it. On our way to the final heist, and throughout the whole film, Seb has been having dreams of zombies attacking him. He wakes up. Karina says that maybe those dreams are prophecies yet to come true. But this idea of stuff being prophecies we will touch on later. Just hold on, it'll happen. So the Interpol get to the location of the 3rd safe at a casino before our heroes do. Or so they think. They rush in to see if the safe's secured. Turns out, our heroes have stolen the safe. Our heroes are currently in the back of a truck, barreling down the road. It's a bumpy road, so it's not real stable. Brad Cage hears wind of this and starts chasing after them. So Seb must do the impossible. He must pick an unpickable lock, not too many times that it locks forever, while nearly escaping Brad Cage. Can he do it? Yeah, he does it fine. No problem. No issue. Brad Cage and Rolf are arrested, by the way. And it's just Gwen and Seb now. Karina gets arrested as well. It's just Gwen and Seb now. They escape to a boating dock. Start loading up the cash in the boat. When Delacroix comes out of nowhere pointing a gun. He's caught them. It's just Gwen and Seb now. They get in the boat with one of the most weird sound effects I have ever heard in my whole lifetime. They start loading up the cash from the Hans Wagner safes onto the boat. They did it. They cracked the 3 of them, and they're on their way to find the 4th. When suddenly, Delacroix comes out of nowhere, pointing a gun at Gwen, saying she must give up herself right now, or else face his fury. Gwen says that he can have her, but he has to let Seb go free. Begrudgingly, Delacroix accepts, and Seb has one last moment with Gwen, holding her in a tight embrace. She promises him that they'll meet back at the safe.
Götterdämmerung.
Seb boats away, notices the bag they have with their passports in it, grabs his, with the name Ludwig Dieter. Because he is a superhero now. He is a lock-picking superhero now. And he's her hero. He smiles with glee because that's all he's ever wanted. All he's ever wanted is to be her hero. Cut to black. We end our movie with an extended scene from Army of the Dead, which I will touch on a little bit later. When starting this project, I wasn't really all that excited for Army of Thieves. I mean, it's just a regular heist movie in a zombie universe that doesn't even include the zombies. And it's not even directed by Zack Snyder. But I probably ended up liking it the most. You can tell that there was a lot of thought and care put into this movie. I mean, it's a prequel to a zombie film that really can't talk about the zombies because of its sequel, but it does in such a way that I think is kind of smart. They use zombies to symbolize our main character's fears and failures. I mean, if he doesn't succeed, he returns back to his old life of working a 9-to-5. And I mean, what's the difference between an undead creature and a 9-to-5 employee, am I right? I also love the themes of inspiration and passion. I mean, Richard Wagner was inspired by the
Der Ring des Nibelungen.
Write his 4 epic poems, which then fictional safe maker Hans Wagner was inspired by to make the 4 safes of the film's universe. And then Seb was inspired by those to learn how to crack them and learn how to lockpick them. And so too, I think Zack Snyder was inspired by them to write Twilight of the Gods, which is Zack Snyder's series recanting Norse mythology. And the Götterdämmerung literally means Twilight of the Gods. So too, I think Matthias Schwengelhopper, lead actor and director of this film, was inspired by Zack Snyder to make his own film, to make his own passion project. And so too, I have been inspired by Zack Snyder, with his overall connected universe, to make this. To make this, you know? As much as I hate on this guy, he has given me energy and passion to talk about his creation. And so too, I hope maybe this can inspire you to get up. Go do something you're passionate about, you know? Go have fun. Army of the Dead starts out with us seeing a military convoy transporting some mysterious cargo. Oh, what's that? We'll get back to that later. That'll be our little secret. On our way to our destination, our military convoy gets overturned by a newly happily married couple who aren't doing anything that illegal. And our cargo turns out to be a zombie. Zeus is his name, and turning people into zombies is his game. We then get a fun montage of Las Vegas being invaded by this zombie apocalypse as our main characters help transport people out and save people as they hold up photos of the loved ones they lost. We then meet our main character, Scott Ward, working in a diner where he then gets approached by Bly Tanaka. See? I told you he'd be relevant later. Bly Tanaka hires Scott Ward to recruit a team of his own to break into Bly Tanaka's casino in Las Vegas, steal a bunch of money before the United States government comes in and nukes Las Vegas, eradicating the zombie problem. Tanaka gives Scott his assistant Martin to help him along the way. Scott also recruits Maria Cruz, Mikey Guzman, Vandero, Marianne Peters, and the one, the only, Sebastian, but he now goes by Dieter, who is confident he can break into Bly Tanaka's casino safe because it's revealed it's the Guten Dameron. And he broke into the other three in the previous movie, in the other stuff. He broke into that stuff. So we know as an audience, if we've watched the prequel movie which came out after Army of the Dead, he can do it. The time has finally come to enter Las Vegas and to break into the casino. But first we need to recruit even more people. Lily, or the Coyote, and Officer Cummings, as well as Scott's daughter, Kate. Scott is mad that Kate's joining the crew, but Kate's friends ran into Las Vegas. She has to save them. What else is she gonna do? Lily injures Officer Cummings and leaves him as a sacrifice to the alpha zombies. You see, if our heroes leave an offering to the alpha zombies, they'll leave them alone. Our heroes reach the casino and split up. Marianne Peters goes up to the roof to fuel and fix the helicopter that's still remaining there. Finally, Lily and Martin go outside to stand guard. It's here we find Martin's true purpose, which is not to get money for Bly Tanaka, but rather to capture the head of a zombie, like that of Zeus's bride, Athena. You see, a zombie head goes really well in the black market. And that's what Bly Tanaka's here to do. He doesn't care about the money. It's all insured, baby. Martin cuts off her head and puts it in a bag. Zeus finds Athena's body, takes it back to his home, and it's there where we realize she was pregnant with his kid. Zeus is outraged by this and begins to plan for war against our heroes. Dieter begins to crack the safe and notices a few corpses on the ground. Vandero says, maybe these corpses are a sign of something, you know? They look exactly like all of our heroes. Maybe our heroes are trapped in a time loop, doomed to repeat the same failure of trying and trying over and over again to break this safe to no avail, just to die over and over and over again. Pay no attention to this. Vandero doesn't know what he's talking about. This line means absolutely nothing. Everyone meets up with Dieter, who just cracked the safe. Our heroes are getting ready to leave with their riches when all of a sudden the zombies start to attack. Maria, dead. Our one and only beloved Dieter dies before he can see Gwen again. Vandero, locked in a safe. Kate ran off to find her friends. And Martin, killed off with obvious wire work. Scott, Mikey, and Lily rush to the roof to get to the helicopter to fly away. Mikey kills a robot zombie and then dies. Scott and Lily meet up with Peters on the roof to fly away, but they get interrupted by Zeus coming up. Lily reveals that she has the head of Athena and uses it as leverage to let Scott and Peters get away. In the process, Lily squishes the head of Athena and in the process dies herself. Scott and Peters rescue Kate, and they all fly away on their helicopter together until Zeus jumps in. He's not done with them yet, you see. They're all flying on the helicopter as the nuke arrives to blow up Las Vegas. As they're flying away from the nuclear explosion, Scott gets bit before the helicopter crashes, killing almost everyone, except for Scott and Kate. Scott got bit. There's no getting around that. And Kate needs to kill her dad. So she does. She does it, then is rescued. Cut to black. We then see Vanderow emerge from the safe that he was locked in, unharmed. He boards a plane, and then starts to feel a little nauseous, a little under the weather. He sneaks off to the bathroom and then finds out that he was bitten. Cut to black. Again. What to say about Army of the Dead? It has so much in it. So much in it. Let's break it down. Aliens. At the beginning of this movie, we see 2 floating lights in the sky. Then, gone, vanished. Go out in outer space. Aliens. Zombie hierarchy. We have Zeus. He is a king class alpha. To our knowledge, he is the first person bit, and when he bites people, they turn into alphas, not shamblers. Alphas. Athena is an example of an alpha. They're known for being a lot smarter than the shamblers, and they kind of can communicate in a smart way that the shamblers just can't. The people they bite turn into shamblers. Then you got shamblers. They're your regular zombies, your regular run-of-the-mill average zombies. Zombie babies. Not much is known about them, considering that I think Athena's child was the only one that we know of. They do lose their blue coloring after they're outside of the womb. Zombie animals. We don't see really that many zombie animals. I believe we see a zombie horse as well. But the main one that we see is the zombie tiger. Now, I believe I read on the wiki somewhere that birds and bugs could not turn into zombies. And the reasoning behind that could be because if they could, they would fly away and infect the rest of the world. And Zack Snyder needed his script to stay in Las Vegas. So the easiest way to write around that is things that can escape Las Vegas can't turn into zombies, I guess. And finally, robot zombies. Nothing important there, nothing we need to talk about, so let's move on to the next topic. Holy crap! Robot freaking zombies! Who made them? Why are they here? What does this mean? Obviously, we know that the zombie virus is of extraterrestrial origin. Did the aliens make the robot zombies? Are the robot zombies just there to spy on the zombies to see how good the zombies would be at with eradicating an entire species? Did the government create robot zombies? But if that was the case, why would they attack normal people? Also, why would they create robot zombies? To spy on the zombies? Why would you do that? I just increase security around the Las Vegas border and sell tickets to see the zombies. That way everyone could see the zombies. Pull a Jurassic World. I never finished the movie, but it seemed alright. People and dinosaurs were getting along. Also, if it was the government that made robot zombies, why would they nuke them? These guys seem expensive to make. Maybe it was that they found out that zombies could procreate, like the baby zombie. And maybe that's when they decided to nuke the place. Maybe baby zombies have more powers than normal zombies. Maybe they're zombie twos. 2 zombies. Internet 2. What if, hold on, hear me out. What if that the robot zombies were just like android people? Like people who didn't even know they were robots, that the government put into everyday society to like trick people, maybe take people of high level authority away and replace them with a robot clone. And maybe the robots were so good, that when they got bitten by the zombies, they turned into robot zombies. Why do I feel like I put more thought and care into this than Zack Snyder did? Portals! Don't worry, we'll get there. A stupid yet very patriotic president. You see, the whole reason that the heist happens the day it has to is because on July 4th, the president is planning on bombing Las Vegas in kind of a patriotic celebration. Kind of like fireworks. But Congress votes that it's stupid and moves it up to July 3rd. And that's a big problem for our people because they're at there July 3rd. They're in there July 3rd. So those are the stakes. Is the president stupid? Is he stupider than our current president in the current year of whatever year it is? Come on, political humor, everyone loves it. That won't date this video. Time loop. In Army of Thieves, it's revealed to Dieter that maybe his dreams are prophecies of what has happened or what is to come. And there we see in his dreams that he is being eaten by zombies. In Army of the Dead, Vanderohe sees some skeletons that look oddly similar to our heroes, as well as plans of the Guten Dämmerung already being all over Las Vegas. When it happens in the movie, it's thought that maybe Bly Tanaka was sending multiple crews to get his money. But what if these are maps from an earlier journey? What if these are skeletons from them? It's theorized that maybe, just maybe, the explosion of the nuke is the thing that sets the time loop. And our heroes need to escape the nuke in order to stop the time loop. It's thought that every other time that our heroes have gone in there, that they have died and reset the time over somehow. That's why Dieter has dreams of dying by zombies. That's why there are skeletons of our heroes already there. It's already happened. But what if someone could escape the time loop? What if someone could be a traitor to destiny, an insurgent to expectations, to be a rebel? I already did this one. Look at the previous video. So we catch up with Admiral Noble, who's back from the dead. He knows that Cora's still alive and needs to bring her back to Daddy Belisarius. Meanwhile, Cora, Gunnar, Milius, a character I did not mention before because I did not think she was important to the overall story, General Titus, Tarek, and Nemesis go to Velt to help the village defend off the bad guys. There they're greeted by Den. Eris, who is important, trust me, is going on hologram chats with our bad guys to let them know that everything is all right and that they don't need to come there. So the bad guys are going to come there in a couple days. Eris tells our heroes that the bad guys are coming, and when they come, they want their grain. Do you remember the grain from last time? Me either. But grain's important, guys. Don't mess it up. Grain, it's really important. So important, it's gonna get its own picture. The night before our heroes and the whole village plan on harvesting the grain, they have a big old cookout where they drink a whole ton and they sing and they dance and our heroes get quilts made for them. Why? Because! How is it that the quilts were done so fast even though our heroes just arrived in town and didn't really have communication with the village up until now? Also because! So early the next morning after the village has drinking so much and are hungover, General Titus rings the war bell that Cora rang in the first one, waking everyone up, telling them it's time to harvest. Now I gotta be real with you guys. I love a Zack Snyder slow motion scene, but when I tell you that this film has too much slow motion scenes of them harvesting grain, I'm not kidding. I played it at 1.5 times speed, and it was still so long of them harvesting grain. I can't do enough justice to how many scenes there are of harvesting grain and how long they last. It's so long. And that's why grain is so important to this movie. So after they're done graining all the grain, we have a montage where they all learn how to fight. Standard montage, the village idiots are now ready to fight off the Imperium. So Cora takes her drop ship that she landed on Velt originally in. It's covered in the books, not the movies, just get over it. It's probably covered in the director's cut. I'm expecting those director's cuts to be 8 hours long. She's putting her dropship behind a waterfall to hide it from the Imperium. And then, when she lands, she gets startled by JC-1435, or Jimmy, as we know him. To my knowledge, the reason that he's called Jimmy is because his model name starts with a J, and that's just, it's fun, you know, people nickname people stuff. To my understanding. I'm no expert or anything, but I like to think I know a little bit. But while they're talking, Cora calls him James. She calls him James, which is too polite for a robot. I mean, what came first? Was he first called James and then nicknamed to Jimmy? But James would have already been a nickname of the JC-1435 unit. Or was he given the nickname Jimmy and people who just wanted to be polite called him James? You don't need to be polite to a robot. Jimmy says that the slain king used to call him James. Was that a sign of respect? If you really respected him, wouldn't you call him JC-1435 because you'd know what unit number he is? That seems to be the most respectful term to call him, not James, because you'd call every model of him James, would you not? But no, this guy's proper name is James. So the time has come for our final battle. Noble faces against Cora and says, in exchange for her, he'll set everyone free. No one will be harmed at all. But Cora must give herself up to Daddy Belisarius. Cora thinks about this for a second. She wants to stay with her love Gunner, but she also wants to do what's right for her family, for her home, a place where she truly found belonging. She hugs Gunner, gives him a kiss, before leaving with Noble. A truly selfless act, and we end our movie here. Nope, just kidding. When Gunner hugs Cora, he steals her gun and then shoots the warning bell, and then all hell breaks loose. Explosions! Pow! Den dies! Titus and Tarek help fight off the invading forces. Tarek with just an axe. Not even like a lightsaber axe, just a normal axe against armored guards with guns. Noble retreats back to the mothership to command from above. Cora and Gunner use her dropship to sneak aboard the mothership to blow it up. Nemesis and Eris are protecting the children of the village. Nemesis dies. Aboard the mothership, Cora blows up this thing, which will come back into play later. Meanwhile, on the ground, Milius is fighting off a tank, and she blows it up. But then another tank comes. She can't defeat two tanks. Who's going to save her now? Out of the smoke comes Jimmy. He blows up the tank, because he knows what side he fights for now. The good guys, the good guys. He fights with the good guys now. So back to the exciting stuff. The mothership has blown up. It is currently on its trajectory down to crash into the planet of Velt. Before Cora can get to her dropship and escape, Noble comes and lightsaber fights her. And she kills him. For good this time. But in all the commotion, Gunner gets hurt and dies. Saddened by this, they have a funeral for Gunner. And up to this point, Cora has been holding back vital information from our main group. She might be the reason for this whole problem. You see, she helped with the assassination of Princess Issa. A big plot point from the first one, not so much for the second one. But Titus looks at her and says, "Hey, you're wrong. Princess Issa's still alive, and we're going to go find her in Rebel Moon Part 3. The quest for gold. The princess quest. The princess quest for gold. The gold princess quest." What do you mean Princess Issa is still alive? All right. Hear me out. From my understanding, Princess Issa was kind of reincarnated in Sam. That's why Jimmy killed the people who were trying to S.A. Sam. And that's kind of my understanding. It's implied in the book, too, that Sam has some kind of likeness to the Princess Issa. We saw in a flashback Princess Issa die and her life force disperse. So what do you mean Princess Issa is still alive? It makes so much sense that Sam and Princess Issa are the same person. Sam and Cora are friends. Princess Issa and Cora are friends. They're both blonde. There are other reasons. Their personalities are similar. Jimmy is programmed only to kill for the royal family. You can say all this dumb stuff about, oh, Jimmy gained a consciousness. He's a robot. He can't do that. Sam is Issa. And Issa is Sam. Case closed. No more. Other than that, my thoughts on Rebel Moon Part 2 aren't great. I mean, it's long, it's boring, nothing happens in it. They have so many scenes of them harvesting grain. In the first movie, there's a plot point where the bad guys come down and they demand grain from the village. And the whole reason they do that is because Gunner sold grain to the rebels. So it's more of a form of payback than them actually needing grain. They might need grain, but the whole reason they push the village to get grain isn't because they need it, but it's more a form of punishment. That was established in movie 1. But here in movie 2, we're treating grain as if it is a necessity to the bad guys. The village uses grain to barricade itself in. And the whole reason they do that, the whole thought process behind that is, hey, they won't shoot at us, they won't harm the grain, they need the grain. But later in the movie, when Noble finds out that Korra is aboard the mothership, he just says to blow it all to smithereens. He doesn't need the grain. He doesn't care about the grain because it wasn't about the grain. I think Zack Snyder wanted the grain to be everything to the bad guys. I think he wanted it to be the complete end-all be-all, you know, as a symbolism or something like that. But in doing that, it also has become nothing. It's nothing. This is nothing. The whole midsection of this movie is just our heroes sitting around a table talking about their backstories, talking about how Nemesis chopped off her arms, and how Tarek lived in London and then became this guy. We wanted more backstory in the first one to care about the characters. We didn't only want backstory in this movie to care about the characters. I don't even care that Nemesis died. I think Tarek or Titus were much better choices to die. Whatever, I'm not writing the movie. And then the whole end is just dumb war sequences. Our heroes will fight a little bit, gain a little bit of ground. The bad guys will have something bigger than what our heroes can fight. So then they'll get a little bit of ground, and then nothing matters at the end because they just blow up the mothership. And nothing, it just is nothing. It means nothing. This movie is nothing. It's nothing. Now this is the reason I made this video. We're at the conclusion. This is the connections. This is how we can see how Richard Wagner relates to zombie princesses and space Nazis and this is it. This is why we were here. This is why we came here. This is why I did this. So Army of the Dead and Army of Thieves are connected by one being a prequel and one being a sequel. They are in the same universe. Sebastian and Dieter are the same character, so that's how those worlds collide. In Army of Thieves, they often talk about
Der Ring des Nibelungen.
Because this is an account of Norse mythology, which then relates us back to Twilight of the Gods, which is Zack Snyder's miniseries recounting Norse mythology. This book also goes on to impact Richard Wagner, who impacts Hans Wagner, who makes the fourth safe, the fourth of the safe, meaning Twilight of the Gods. All right, we're caught up with all this? There are many people, myself included, that believe that this Norse mythology stuff and the planet of Velt have a lot in common. I mean, look at the names of the people living on Velt. Hagen, Sindri, Den. Those all kind of sound Nordic to me. So what if, and I pose this theory to you right now, and I will connect them, what if not only are the Norse gods real in Army of Thieves and Army of the Dead, but also within the universe of... Come on, you can't tell me that all the talk of gods in Rebel Moon Part 1 doesn't have some relation to Norse, that they need to procreate to help the harvest. That seems kind of like Norse gods to me. But I'm sure that that's all the connections that we can make here. In an interview with Totally Film magazine, Zack Snyder talks about how in his yet-to-be-released sequel series, Army of the Dead Lost Vegas, at one point in the show, they go through a portal into another dimension, and there are characters in that other dimension that they come across. Snyder explains, in Rebel Moon, they're in this bar, and one of the aliens is one. And this alien is the main connection point between Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon. In an interview with comicbook.com, Zack Snyder says, "I don't know if we've talked about this. When they go into the bar and there's a Zandonite. The Zandonite is that blue girl with glowing markings on her. She's directly from Army animated series that we never finished. Where they go, where the zombie plague comes from, is a planet that they call Xandu. Well, the scientist calls it Xandu because they're big fans of Olivia Newton-John. So they go to Xandu and the Zandites, basically where the zombie plague comes from. She is one of them. So there is an interdimensional thing they go through. So there is a chance of some weird mashup. So not only are robot zombies real, there are also planets with interdimensional beings that turn you into zombies. That's how all of this is connected. Through the portals to interdimensional planes of existence. With zombie aliens and robot zombies and Norse gods. These beings right here, the Kali is what they're called. They're interdimensional beings and they power all the Imperium's spaceships, all the hyperspace ships. We don't know anything about them. There's a sequel series in the works for them. I don't know. At this point, does the DCEU even fit into all this? I mean, Vandero has a dark side tattoo. Does that mean anything? Does that canonize DCEU films in this? At least the Zack Snyder ones, right? Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, we also see in the film that the Snyder Cut literally is in the Guten Dämmerung. So, what does that mean? Let's just canonize all the DCEU films at this point. I mean, when interdimensional portals are involved, anything's a reality too. Throw up Watchmen. Whoa. That's a lot of movies. But I mean, we're just getting started. The DCEU, that includes gods. That includes not just Roman gods, but also Greek gods. And where do Greek gods exist? The movie 300, I think. I don't know. I didn't finish it. And 300 also had a sequel. But also in Army of the Dead, we see a news article on a phone that talks about a 2004 Milwaukee zombie outbreak. That's a reference to Dawn of the Dead, so does that take place in the same universe? And then Sucker Punch might fit up here somewhere. Legends of the Guardian, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. Maybe those are just animals that didn't get bitten by the zombie animals. Maybe that's what happened. Because they had the armor. You know, I'm sick of this. I'm done with this. I started this as a joke with my friends, a Rebel Moon, supposed to be the next Star Wars, supposed to dethrone Star Wars. It's Zack Snyder's Star Wars on Netflix is gonna have 12 million sequels. But I've had it. Enough is enough. I'm done wasting my time on this stupid, convoluted nonsense. I've been obsessing and worshiping over this interconnected universe, and what has it gotten me? Nothing. I'll never get the answer to robot zombies. I'll never get the answer to interdimensional beings that power ships. I'm taking a stand. I have become an army against the Army of the Dead. I am a rebel against Rebel Moon. I've had it. I can't do it with Zack Snyder's interconnected universe.